There may not be a more polarizing figure in the NBA today than that of Trae Young. Just a little less than 1 year ago today, the Atlanta Hawks were 18-27 on the year, and Trae Young was experiencing incredible backlash, inevitably being tied to the Luka Doncic trade ever since entering the NBA. Yet here we sit 1 year later, and the Atlanta Hawks are 22-20, a 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. As loud as the criticisms have been about Trae Young ever since he entered the NBA, it's odd to me how little praise he is getting for the season he's having this year. Matter of fact, he's chasing history, yet no one is noticing. So today in this video, we break down just how quietly great Trae Young has been this year, even with maybe some down numbers in the scoring department, and we take a look at how he can make history, becoming just the second player to average 23-12 in NBA history. Let's get right into it. So of course, as I make this video, Trae Young has had a couple down assist games over the past couple games, bringing him just below 12 assists per game, but still leading the NBA by a large margin. And I want you guys to understand just how big a number 11.8 assists per game really is. Like I said, if he gets above that 12, which he has been a majority of the year, he'd be just the second player all time to do so, behind Magic Johnson, who did it just one time in his career. However, even just at 11.8, there is still not another player in NBA history besides Magic to do that. And even if it drops down to 11, there's just a couple guys in NBA history to do so. Trae would become the 8th, alongside Oscar Robertson, who did it 4 times, Magic Johnson once, Tiny Archibald once, and then James Harden in 2017. So yes, Trae Young is having a fantastic season, even though he's only averaging 23 points per game. I think something interesting about Trae that not many people talk about is that every single year of his career, he has upped his assists per game number. He started in his rookie season with 8.1, then 9.3, 9.4, 9.7, 10.2, 10.8, and then this year 11.8. That is a ton of assists. And although his career high in points per game is 29.6, and he's had pretty much every other season besides his rookie season averaging 25 or more, versus this year just being at 23.2, I really think it's pretty inconsequential. Number one, he just has a better team around him, and he doesn't have to take 20 shots a game like he did back in 2022. And then secondly, I really do think he's a better shooter, especially from the 3-point line, than he has been this year, being 34.4%. And so if he has some positive regression on the backside of this year, he still could get to 25 points per game. But the most interesting thing to me about this Hawks team is that they finally have built an actual team around Trae Young that not just fits in with his strengths, but covers his weakness, which is defense. Just a few short years ago, everyone thought that DeJounte Murray would be the answer for the Hawks, coming from the Spurs in that blockbuster deal. But what I never understood about that trade is that DeJounte Murray never really was a good defender. He was just a guy that got a ton of steals. Matter of fact, Trae Young in his entire history of his NBA career has never played with an elite perimeter defender. If we take a look at dunksandthrees.com, you can see it clear as day. In Trae's rookie season, there was nobody above the 71st percentile that was a wing. In 2020, you can take a look here and you'll see that they had Clint Capella as a rim protector, but nobody as a point of attack defender. And I'm not going to go through every single year, but you get the point. He's never had someone who can actually stop the ball on his team. And if we take a look at defensive rating for the Hawks since Trae came into the league, you'll see a pretty interesting trend that I think really spells this out. So the Hawks have always been a bottom of the barrel defensive team in Trae Young's tenure there, and everyone always likes to blame Trae Young. But my thing with Trae is he's 6 feet tall. No one ever expected him to be someone who can play defense in the NBA. He just physically can't really do it at 6 feet tall. Not to mention, he's such a plus on the offensive end that you can't really expect him to be a good defender at that size. However, the advanced metrics are not good. Don't get me wrong. He's in like the 5th percentile on dunksandthrees.com. That's why you have to build a team around him that can play defense, though, because you're never going to be a top 10 defensive team with Trae Young. But if you can at least be average or a little below average, you can win with Trae Young in the playoffs. And we'll see that that checks out historically. Today's video is brought to you by SeatGeek. Now, I live 20 minutes from Target Center and have not been to a Minnesota Timberwolves game this year. That changes today. So I'm grabbing my SeatGeek app and I'm going to go check out the Los Angeles Clippers coming to town on Monday, January 6th. I want to see Norman Powell. I want to see James Harden. As you can see here on the SeatGeek app, it will rate how good of a deal your potential ticket is from 1 to 10. Green means good, red means bad. So I thought I was going to sit in the upper deck, but I found this lower level seat. It's pretty far back for the lower level, but it's a really good deal. $100 including fees, which I really appreciate that SeatGeek points out. And there it is. It's simply that easy to get tickets from SeatGeek. And I love the visual aspect of the SeatGeek app. It shows you in the bottom left there where your row actually is. I never know when they just say the letter, but showing it is a nice feature. But the good news for you guys today is that I have a special hookup with SeatGeek, whether you've used the app before or it's your first time. So what are you doing? I know you want to go to an NBA game in 2025. It has to be a New Year's resolution for you. So go ahead, pull out your phone, download the SeatGeek app, put in that promo code Hardwood10, and you'll get 10% off. Thank you so much to SeatGeek for sponsoring this video. Let's get right back into it. In Trae Young's rookie season, they finished 24th in defensive rating, and they went 24-58. In 2019, they finished 28th in defensive rating, and they went very similar, 29-53. In 2020, 26th in defensive rating, 20-47. In 2021, the only year that a Trae Young playoff team has won a series, not to mention got to the conference finals, they were 18th in defensive rating. In 2022, they fall back down to 26th and go 43-39. In 2023, they finished 22nd in defensive rating and go 41-41. And then last year, they finished 27th in defensive rating and go 36-46. So if we take a look at this year's Hawks team, you'll see they are also 18th in defensive rating, which is super interesting to me because they're 22-20, 6th seed in the East. And if you just take a look at the eye test, they are just far and above a better team than they have been the past couple of years. And you'll see here that checks out on dunksandthrees.com as well. Everyone knows Dyson Daniels has been one of the best perimeter defenders in the league this year. He's leading the league in steals with 3.1 a game. But it's not just that. Some guys get steals and they're not the best defenders, or they're overhyped as a point of attack defender. That's not the case with Dyson Daniels. We all know it. Landry Fields hit a home run getting off of DeJounte Murray for Dyson Daniels, plus 2 future first-round picks. But like I said, if we take a look at dunksandthrees.com, Trae's never had a perimeter defender that's been above league average in his entire career. Yet here you have Dyson Daniels, 97th percentile. And then Jalen Johnson is icing on the cake, can guard anyone 2 through 4. And he's an 88th percentile on the defensive end. And so what the Hawks have really understood here is that we have to surround Trae with a couple of perimeter defenders, which is working out so well. Clint Capella is not the Clint Capella of the past, but he is still an above average rim protector, which is something you need. So why is it that I'm making this video? I'm making this video because it is the popular thing to dunk on Trae Young in the NBA media space, both on YouTube and on the networks. But yet I don't see anybody talking about how good of a year he's having. They look at his points per game and they're like, oh, not as good of a year. Obviously he leads the league in assists, but people seem to discount that. Oh, Jalen Johnson broke out. Dyson Daniels is awesome. Yes, all of that is true. Trae Young has the best team that he's ever had in his NBA career, but Trae Young is arguably having his best season of his career as well. Obviously, if you take a look at some of the advanced metrics, it's not as high as 2022 and 2021 were. However, like I said, he's chasing history. Nobody else besides Magic Johnson has done what he is on the brink of doing. And it's resulting in winning games. Like I said, there's other guys here that definitely deserve some credit. DeAndre Hunter's only played 28 games this year, but he's shooting 42% from 3, averaging a career high 19.3 points per game. He is a piece that I thought the Hawks should have moved off of last offseason. I'm glad they haven't because he's been massive for them. Dyson Daniels goes from averaging 5 points per game last year with the Pelicans to 13.2, not to mention the breakout on the defensive end. Jalen Johnson increases his points per game from 16 to 19.7, holding that efficiency of last year. And even though it seems like Bogey is slowly starting to run out of steam at age 32, I really think all the Hawks need to do is develop Reece Ashier over the next year or two into a plus shooter, or go out and get someone like the Pistons did this offseason in Malik Beasley to really be a knockdown three-point shooter for Trae. That's the only thing I feel like they're kind of lacking. So we'll see where things go here for the Hawks. But what I will say is that even last year, 2 years ago, it felt like a dire situation that Trae Young had to desperately get out of, or he would be ruined and wasted, has now turned into a positive outlook, not just now, but over the intermediary, the next 3 to 5 years. Jalen Johnson, incredibly young. Dyson Daniels, incredibly young. Obviously, Zachary Richazet. So I really do have to give Landry Fields a ton of credit. And just remember, if you're going to hate on Trae Young, if you're going to dunk on him when team around him is an awful defensive team, and then you just point out how terrible of a defender he is, you also have to praise him when he's having a quiet but spectacular season this year. That's translating into being the 6th team in, although a weak, Eastern Conference. Trae Young is obviously an all-star. He is so much better than we give him credit for. 11.8 assists per game is absurd. And again, this is not a team that is a very good three-point shooting team. They're ranked 19th in percentage from three. So Trae's assists, I feel like, are even that much more impressive. So with that being said, Trae Young's chasing history. We should continue to track this. I felt like it is worth putting out there because it feels like no one's talking about it. Let me know what you think. Do they have a chance to win a series in the playoffs? Can they upset a team like the Knicks if they get a 6 seed? Obviously, I don't think they have a chance at beating the Cavaliers or the Celtics. They'll have to hold on to that 6 seed. The Magic are coming. They're going to get healthy. The Pistons may be coming, but we'll see. That's what's fun about the NBA. It feels like things go under the radar for such a long time until they don't. I do think the Hawks offense absolutely needs to pick it up a little bit. If they can get more to like a top 12 offense, I'd feel a lot better about their outlook this year going forward. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. And if you're watching to the end here, I started a gaming channel. Go check it out. The first video was what if LeBron James went to college. I'm playing the old NCAA basketball 10, and to my absolute shock, it got 68,000 views. I just released another video on what if the Ball brothers went to college together that has like 18,000 views in under a day. So go check it out. It's fun. March Madness is coming up. I'm replaying a ton of NBA players' college careers, whether they went to college or didn't. And as always, we'll see ya on the hardwood.